Now, yes, sometimes we on this channel are maybe a little bit too verbose when it comes to free agents or players available for trade or players in the draft, and we're famoso, es muy famoso, for being, hey, the Vikings need to sign, trade, draft player XYZ. Well, we're going to completely flip the script. How the turntables have, I don't know, but we're going to do a list of notable free agents as well as players that are available that the Vikings should not sign. Now, some of these guys, well, actually most of these guys are going to be on the wrong side of 30, but that doesn't necessarily disqualify you. Just guys that may not have as much left in the tank as their name brand may suggest. Right? So we'll talk about it. Getting into the list. First up, quarterback Carson Wentz. I mean, I understand the appeal. Like, in a vacuum, sure, bringing him in as a veteran backup for Kirk Cousins, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Like, Carson Wentz seems like a genuinely, like, okay, like, nice dude, but everywhere he goes, there's drama, there's chicanery, and we don't need it. And also, like, Carson Wentz he's just bad. Like, there's no upside. He was a sneaky old rookie coming in out of NDSU, so you're not going to develop him to be the future starter. He really is just going to be taking up space, and I would rather have Nick Mullins. Like, even though, yes, Nick Mullins and you could say Carson Wentz are about on the same plane in terms of potential, I mean, Nick Mullins has never been a distraction. Nick Mullins is what he is. Perfectly fine backup quarterback that worked well with Kirk Cousins last year. So, yeah, bring him in. Carson Wentz, no. Even though I understand the local angle, like, he's from North Dakota, went to NDSU, but no. Then wide receiver chosen, Robbie Anderson. So the Cardinals let him go, save around $12 million in cap space. Now he's got speed for days. The former Temple Owl and former Carolina Panther, but it's just no. Like, I understand the Vikings need some long speed, but he doesn't really have that much anymore. The trade was kaput to Arizona last year to begin with, so it's no, absolutely not. Next up, defensive tackle Fletcher Cox. Now, we included some of the spot rack values for him. Now, it's estimated that he could get $14 million per year. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, Fletcher Cox, I mean, he still can bring it in a rotational capacity, but I mean, back in the day, Fletcher Cox was the dude. Like, he was the guy. Like, Aaron Donald obviously gets all the latitude and platitudes and all the dap, but Fletcher Cox was a consistently top 2, 3, 4 defensive tackle, somewhere in there. But, you know, the Vikings do need some help on the defensive line, but I think that it would make a little bit more sense to have a youth movement up front. Like, I would have been all in on Daron Payne, and even though they're going to be extremely expensive, you know, going after a guy like Draymond Jones, maybe a guy like Zach Allen, maybe, I don't know, but Fletcher Cox, nah. Like, basically the running theme is older guys that have maybe 1 year left, maybe 2. Nah, I'm up. But like I said, age doesn't necessarily, like, being on the wrong side of 30 doesn't necessarily preclude you from, it's like, so you look at guys like Marcus Peters, you look at guys like Jalen Ramsey. Come on in. And then you got linebacker Levante David. Yes, Levante David, respect, was one of the best off-ball linebackers in the game. It was like him and Kendricks and Bobby Wagner for a stretch, and Luke Kuechly. But David and Wagner, even though Bobby Wagner was highly rated by PFF last year and he was a stud, schematically changing in that regard, I don't know. Plus, it would be one thing if the Vikings were a Bobby Wagner away from being a top-tier defense, but the Vikings do need a lot of help elsewhere. Plus, I think Bobby Wagner is going to have a market, so he's going to get paid. I mean, hell, Levante David's estimated to get almost $10 million a season, even at age 33. So, ain't about that life. Also, DeAndre Hopkins. So, yeah, I understand he's available for trade, but $19.45 million. I mean, Nuke. The thing about Nuke is, like, he never was a big separation guy. Like, he was always a contested catch dude. He was always going to come up with that football in 50-50 situations. But, I mean, he's gotten even slower. And I'm not looking for that as a wide receiver too. Like, I want someone who can consistently get open and work with KJ and JJ and TJ and all the J's. And DeAndre Hopkins just ain't it right now. Plus, I ain't giving up draft capital for a receiver, especially since this receiver class is so damn good. Also, the free agent class is pretty damn good. DJ Chark one time, then safety Jordan Poyer. So I understand what you're saying. Oh, safety. But Jordan Poyer has been phenomenal on the back end of Leslie Frazier's defense for a number of seasons. But at 31, Nah, it ain't it. Plus, if and when you do keep Harrison Smith, Lewisine going to be in there. Cam Beasley, you could potentially draft a back end defender in the draft as well. So, nah, especially at $11 million per year estimate. No, defense tackle Akeem Hicks. Now, Akeem Hicks, like he was a big part of our nightmares for a number of seasons. Just the things that he did to Garrett Bradbury, it was rough, man. But Hicks is not the same guy that he was, and last year on the Bucs is sort of whatever. But you could still find a decent market. But bringing him in as a rotational guy for $5-6 million per year, nah. I'd rather spend it up on a guy like Sheldon Rankins, who is also 30, but has a little bit more left in the tank. Then offensive guard Roger Saffold. The Vikings could and should be looking to address interior offensive line. And Saffold, I mean, I was all about Saffold before he signed his free agent deal with the Tennessee Titans. And, I get that he was drafted to be a left tackle, but he's turned into one of the better guards in the league. But at 35, Nah. I'd be more interested in the other Titans guard, Nate Davis, prior to Charlotte coming on in. And then kicker Robbie Gould, where, hey, remember when the Bears cut Robbie Gould because they thought that he was washed, and then he had a bunch of great seasons with the Niners, but he is 40, and I would like to upgrade from Greg Joseph, but I'd rather pay up for Matt Gay than pay for Robbie Gould or Matt Prater for that matter, than any free agent running back. So maybe bringing back Madison on a cheap deal, but I ain't spending enough for Miles Sanders or David Montgomery or Rashawn Penny or Kareem Hunt. No, screw that noise. Speaking of screw that noise, so I get we've advocated for OBJ before, and it would make sense him working with Kevin O'Connell, Wes Phillips, and also him and Justin friggin' Jefferson, as well as the LSU contingent here, Skull SU, but concerned about the knee, concerned about the age, concerned about the price tag. So just kind of over it. Kind of over it at this point. And then, the last three. Yeah, all names that you know and love. Julio Jones, JPP, and Rodney Hudson, 34, 34, and 33 respectively. You forget that Julio played for the Bucs last year. You forget that Julio played for the Titans 2 years ago. It's kind of crazy, man. But Julio certainly is not the guy he used to be. JPP, you forgot that JPP, like the Bucs let him go, and he signed with the Ravens. Like, you completely forget that, don't you? And then Rodney Hudson, who was a guy that I loved a lot and have advocated for him at various times before, but he's the bloom is off the rose, and he's a little bit washed. And even though the Vikings certainly could use a little bit of interior offensive line help, it ain't it. It ain't it, man. But that's it. Finally, again, instead of, hey, the Vikings need to sign this person or draft this person or trade for this person, here's a list of notable free agents and players available that the Vikings should not sign. Anyways, let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.